Okay. And we should be on? I'm thinking?
We are on.
Okay, so as usual, we wait for the okay from our lovely and beautiful studio manager, Luana, to give us the A-OK that she can hear and see us good.
She says you sound awesome.
Yeah, okay, good. Well, then welcome everybody else. Thank you for tuning in on another Tuesday night on Past TV Network. You are listening to Through the Veil Live, and we just lost Greg's video. Hopefully he'll come back here in a second. We'll give him a minute to go with that and see if it helps at all. There he is. Thank you, you're back. We are the #1 show in Port Wentworth, Georgia, and so thank you for listening over at Port Wentworth. We are excited about tonight, so we're not going to waste a lot of time with all kinds of what we've been doing this week and last week and all that kind of crud. We have an incredible guest on with us tonight. Unfortunately, we could not add him to video, but he is in on our call, so you're going to be listening to him, and we're going to be showing some great pictures. I promise not to show the nude ones tonight, so we'll have to do those a different time. I know. So please welcome the one and only, the incredible local psychic extraordinaire, Mr. Don Simmons. Hello, Don.
Hello, Michelle, and how are you?
I'm good, and of course we've got Greg on too, as you know, and we've been pumped talking this week since you gave us the okay that you could do it, about all the millions of things we're going to be able to talk about tonight.
Millions of things, I love it.
Good.
We do have a lot to talk about, I believe.
We do, and I'm going to check in real quick with Luana and make sure that she can hear you good. She's good, Greg?
He's a little echoey.
Okay. That's okay.
He's moved out of the cave.
I should have told you that. I should have told you that to not call from the cave.
Got it. Okay, got it.
The signal's better though there.
Yes, it is. The signal is better there, but still echoey.
Well,
is it any better?
We'll let Luana, Greg will give me the thumbs up here in a second. We'll just kind of keep talking.
Looks like Luana's giving a good thumbs up.
Okay. If you have been fortunate enough to attend the past couple Through the Veils, you were blessed by meeting Don Simmons, and he did our meditations in the mornings on Saturday and Sunday morning last year. He also led the opening ceremony with all the bells and gongs and all that kind of stuff. Was there the year before. He's done past life regressions, and we've been real honored to have him on, and as long as Through the Veil is going, which we hope will be for a very long time, we hope that Don will be a part of it too. Don, I know you work at Phoenix and Dragon, which has been Through the Veil's sponsor for the last several years too, and it's the #1 place to go for all your metaphysical needs in Atlanta. And is that where people can find you the easiest if they want to come and set up a reading with you or something?
That's correct, thank you. Yes, Phoenix and Dragon bookstore in Sandy Springs, right inside the perimeter on 285 on Roswell Road. And the amazing thing that we're blessed in Atlanta with having a place like Phoenix and Dragon. If you've been around the country, you'll recognize that there's very few really great metaphysical bookstores like Phoenix and Dragon. And I gotta say, to the benefit of Phoenix and Dragon and Candace Apple, the owner, I was here 12, 15 years ago. That's when Borders bookstores and all of those things came up. And they were talking about the death of small mom and pop stores like Phoenix and Dragon. Well, guess what? Phoenix and Dragon is still there, and now some of the other big stores are going out. So that is where I am. I do readings there. I teach meditation on Thursday and Saturday, and I'm really blessed and very excited about being in a place like that.
I love that place. Every time I go in there, I love just hanging out in the store. I may go in there and hang out for a couple hours. Usually the one that's like, right, it's time to go. You've been in here all Okay. You feel such a good vibe walking in the store. It's got a great book collection where you can't find such a huge volume of books anywhere else that I know of. Besides that, everybody who works there, we're talking, of course, you, Don, and a couple other people, they're great to talk to. They're not unapproachable, which is one thing I love about going to the places where everybody is nice. They actually like talking to people. It's phenomenal. They love the business.
They really do, and Greg, you're not alone in regards to the people that you really see Phoenix and Dragons almost like a touchstone place that they go. They may buy a crystal or some incense, or they may not buy anything, or they may come and buy $3,000 worth of stones, and that happens too. But sometimes people just come and sit and just be in the energy of Phoenix and Dragons. And it's true, the staff that works there, they know what's going on. Candace Apple herself buys and goes through every crystal that's on the shelves. We've got a wonderful book buyer who's constantly updating her own stuff about what books are out, what books are coming up, who the great authors are, and what's happening in the world. So it's got a great staff, and myself and all of the other psychics, I guarantee if you go, I just need a question asked, without doing a reading necessarily, but we're available,
Yeah.
I don't think I've ever spent less than 2 hours in there.
I got to you about, I guess this time last year, I asked you a couple questions on singing bowls. We ended up chatting for almost an hour. It was great.
Yeah, that's right, absolutely. And that's the kind of thing, especially when you go, well, now you're hitting something that's close to my heart, singing bowls and sounds and healing meditations and things like that. I can walk forever on that kind of thing. So to see someone else get excited about sound and how something like that works, that's why I'm there. It's really wonderful.
I think that's maybe what we should talk about first then, because that's on our list of things to talk about with you.
Hey, that's exciting. Guess what I did today? This is a really fascinating thing. I was invited by the VA hospital here in Atlanta to come and give the opening invitation to a thing they were calling Cafe Caritas, which is a training program for the nursing staff at the VA hospital. And this is all about loving kindness and how to deal with their patients and clients in a way that's a little more loving kindness rather than just, Miss Griffin, how are you feeling, huh? So they come at it with a little more kindness and loving kindness with that. So I was invited to give the opening invitation. I brought a couple of crystal bowls and a couple of Tibetan bowls. And it was just really wonderful getting all of the nurses and the staff there in a centered place as they began for the next 2 days going through the process of Caritas or loving kindness processes. It was really phenomenal.
Now, for some people who are listening, they might be, hearing you talk about singing bowls and sound and wondering, isn't it just music? Is there something more than just music? What would you tell them about the kind of the idea behind what singing bowls are able to do?
Absolutely. As a matter of fact, one of the things that we like to point out is that there's a very famous oncologist in New York City. His name is Dr. Mitchell Gaynor. Dr. Mitchell Gaynor works with cancer patients going through their process of healing and recovery as well as their processes of dying. And he was, however, he taught meditation or brought meditation into people's lives. And one day he had a client, a patient, who was a Buddhist monk. And the Buddhist monk brought in a Tibetan bowl. And he gave this to Dr. Gaynor, and he started using this Tibetan bowl, which is a metal-sounding bowl. And he discovered that his patients, when they were going through their things, they had a much more rapid rate of recovery using the Tibetan bowl rather than just no sound whatsoever. And so there is a difference between music and sound. However, all sound is music, but not all. Wait a minute. All music is sound, but not all sound is music, or something like that. Now I'm getting myself mixed up. But the bottom line is that sound is something that you're able to feel, as well as music is what you feel. But the difference is that music has some form of rhythm to it that leads you. And that's why in meditation, I actually don't use music, I use sound. Stephen Alpern, who's a wonderful musician called the Grand Master of Healing Music, has been working with sound and music for many, many years. But if you listen to his music, it is in a rhythm and a cadence where it keeps you a little bit off balance. So the mind is never anticipating what comes next. Therefore, when the mind is in a state of question, that's when it has the ability to feel the most. Because it's not just going, if I go, do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti,
Do.
you'll know what comes next.
Right.
Exactly. Somebody has to say it. And so if you know that, then you're on automatic pilot. But if you mix it up and move it around, you don't know what's coming, then the mind is active and participating in what's going on with you. You know, the healing process, if that's what you're working on.
That makes perfect sense. But
Yeah.
how does it heal?
Music and sound, rather, has a certain frequency and vibration. So I will play this Tibetan bowl. Let's see if you can hear this. Can you hear that?
Yeah.
Okay. The sound in frequency and vibration moves through the airwaves. If you're listening to it on headphones or on speakers, it's sort of the same thing. Not quite as the same as when you're live. But the frequency and vibration moves through, goes into your ears, as well as goes into your skin. Now you guys know energy is energy, as you have done all of these paranormal kind of events. You feel an energy, and all of a sudden your hair stands up on the back of your neck. Same thing with sound. And so you have this energy moving through your skin. The body wants to be in harmony. And oftentimes when we, for example, driving in the car, somebody pulls out in front of us, or we have something bad happens, we get bad news, all of a sudden our chakras sort of go out of line, the 7 energy centers of ourselves. Or we just go into a stage of depression. Well, sound has the ability to bring harmony back into the body. Just like Dr. Emoto's book on water, the particles of water when played with nice, beautiful music versus disharmony music.
Right.
It's the same thing with that. And so there's been several people that have done the work on sounds and different sounds and how they vibrate within the human body. One of my partners with International Sound Therapy Association, Madara Cromwell, is working on certain machines and products that really help define which sound goes with what muscle or organ or gland or heat. As a matter of fact, I had a session today because I'm having some tooth issues. And I was telling her, like, they want to root canal. She said, no, you've got to go get spinal work. You've got to go get spinal work. It's proven it's down. So I went today and had some time, and right now I'm not having any problems. Wow. So it's frequency and vibration that moves through the body that brings harmony into the system. Much like you might think of, if you've got a crying baby, all of a sudden you just start singing and cooing and humming, the baby will calm down, generally.
Right.
And that's that same thing. There's something that's very soothing about that. The body wants to be harmony. It wants to be there. So when you give it the opportunity, it will go. And sound, particularly, is one way to really help it, as Dr. Mitchell Gaynor really found out.
I got two questions for you, Don. First, this is my question. Personally, does certain notes actually help with certain portions of the body? Well, I guess let me rephrase it this way. As far as your chakras, do certain notes resonate through your chakras differently?
Yes, absolutely. In the crystal bowls, what happens is that, or let me rephrase this, in sound or in music, you've got the scales going from C all the way up to B. C, D, E, F, G, B. And so this relates to the chakras. The C chakra, the C note, is the same as the root chakra. So there's C, then D, which is sacral, E, which is solar plexus, F, which is the heart chakra, G is the throat, A is the third eye, and B is the crown. So that way, there are notes that relate to them. However, let me say this, because a lot of people will say, well, Don, which bowl should I get? What note should I get? In many ways, it really doesn't matter. It comes down to what calls you, what drives you. Because once you start playing that, it's sort of like an assimilation type of thing. Once one starts getting in harmony, all the rest will come into harmony too.
Huh, okay.
Yeah.
And then I have Kathy in chat. She had asked a question. She had said she has trouble in hearing the vibrations that come from the bowls. It gives her unpleasant vibrations. She was wondering if it has anything to do with her having migraines, which she does suffer from pretty much constant migraines.
I'm sorry to hear that before. That's really painful, I know. I've not done any work in regards to specifically migraines themselves and how that really relates to there. Oftentimes, if someone is having difficulties with the sound, with some particular sound, that's usually an indication that something is going on with that person in that area. So if I'm playing the F bowl, and all of a sudden somebody's like, I don't like that. More than likely there's a blockage within their emotional heart. Now, I will say, because I don't know that much about about migraines and how that works, it may have a different modality. I would actually like to work with that and see how that does work. But, because the migraines and the headaches are so very different. But I do know, or I'm aware, that there are certain other type of modalities you can use, like chemotherapy, that would help, would benefit into something like that, I'm sure.
Kathy, it sounds like, I was going to say, Kathy, it sounds like you need to go see Don as quickly as possible.
Yeah.
If you leave now...
It seems like, with the migraines, because they're so special, that, it would be interesting to see which one would trigger a migraine, and then you go into looking to see what's taking place within that person, and see, which one.
That would be interesting, wouldn't it? Now, I'm a little confused because you were talking about different notes relating to different chakras or different parts of the body. When I had heard at one point that our entire body resonates to one note, and that if we find that particular note that resonates with us the best, then that's where healing comes from.
What you probably heard was, what is your note? What tone are you? And there's truth to the idea that you want to get closest to your note that you have. However, the feelings that I've got and some of the things that I've read and seen is that there is a different frequency and vibration to the specific organs and the specific bones and muscles. Like, the problem that I'm having right now is with my that tooth and the nerve that goes into that actually deal with lower back and digestion. You know, so it becomes that specific. So just, it's sort of, yeah, if you find your nose, which is easy to do, all you do is you have my iPhone that has a wonderful little application on it, and you can understand what note is being played, and you go to the lowest sound that you can make without straining, and then that becomes your note. That is where you operate from. But every organ, every muscle, every bone, and every tooth has a different vibration to it.
That's just so interesting. I mean, and everything is energy, and so it makes perfect sense that we're looking for our souls or our bodies are longing for harmony, and we're just not experiencing it. All the vibrations and stuff that are around us every day, from traffic and voice and and then the inaudible vibrations as well that are affecting us.
Right, exactly. And, two things about that. You might think of your body and your whole system as a symphony of sound. So, the endocrine system may have one sound. The circulatory system may have another sound. And so you're always in this harmony of sound. Now, one of the things that one of the things that is the International Sound Therapy Association is really trying to get out there is for people to become aware of the sounds around them. The traffic, which we can't get away from, but be aware of when is traffic too much. That car with the loud boom, the boom car, move away from it. Being aware of a restaurant that you go into, is the music that's coming from the restaurant harmonious with what you're doing? Is it loud? Is it too upbeat? Because sometimes you leave a restaurant and you go, God, I'm really full, and it may not be because of the food. It may be because of indigestion, because of the music or the sound that's going on. Even being aware of things like, the hum that comes from the refrigerator,
right,
or a ticking clock. Become aware of those things.
So what would you recommend?
That's part of finding harmony.
Certainly, there's so much, and we could do a whole show on this, but I know we want to talk about some other stuff too. And I know people in the chat room and people who are going to watch this later are going to want more information. Where would you recommend they go? I know you just mentioned ISTA. Do they have a website if somebody wanted to check them out?
Yes, we do. The website for ISTA is powerofsounds.com. That's Power of Sounds, more than one sound, sounds.com. Or you can contact me, and I will definitely add the information on. ISTA is coming up in November the 11th and 12th. We've got a big sound conference, an international sound conference that's going on. And on the 12th, there is a free concert with crystal bowls, Tibetan bowls. We've got some chanters, we've got some other choirs, we've got all kinds of wonderful things that are happening. That's going to be at the church, the UUCA here in Atlanta. And from, I believe the time is 7 o'clock till 10 o'clock. And it's a free event. I believe there is also, you can have the opportunity to get vegetarian food for like, $10 or something like that, a vegetarian dinner for $10 or something. So it's going to be a great event. We also teach sound classes. We're in the process of doing some sound classes right now. I just finished teaching about the shaman's drum. And so that was just really wonderful for people to feel and experience what it's like, the power of that shaman's drum. And I believe 2 weeks I'm going to be teaching the crystal bowls.
Wow, I didn't realize you were doing so much with that. That's awesome. And for anybody listening, for those dates, Don said November 11th and 12th. If you didn't pick up on that, that is 11/11. So it is the place to be. I think it's really important for anybody on November 11th at least, and then going into that weekend, find someplace like this concert and this program to be at on that day.
Absolutely. We're setting the vibration. We're coming into a very important time of our life that the world has sped up so fast now, and so things are happening so with all of the earth changes, and not just massive changes, but earthquakes and tornadoes and hurricanes and all of these things that are happening. There's just so much change. It's time for us to come into our emotional body and get harmony within that. We may not be able to change the hurricanes right now, but if we change it within ourselves, who knows, maybe we can.
Now, you're talking about all the changes, and Greg, I'm going to let you cut in here too. It's got my brain going a million places, and we hadn't even talking about this, but I know, Don, that you've probably heard it. A lot of people, including myself, especially seems to be over the past 3 or 4 weeks, have really been experiencing some sort of energetic change or something. It's felt like, and I've said it a few times over the last weeks, it feels like almost a sadness kind of energy in the air. Number one, are you feeling the same thing? And number two, what do you recommend for people to do? So for the first several days, I thought, oh well, something's just going on with me, or hormones or something. And then when it didn't pass, I realized, okay, it's a little bit more than that. And I wasn't really sure what to do to kind of deal with it, other than just to ride it out.
Yeah, Michelle, it's one of those things that I feel it personally myself. I see it in a lot of my clients. And so one of the good things is to know that you're not alone. And that's what I tell a lot of people. Just be aware, you're not alone in this. It's okay. Ride it out. Become more meditative in however that may be for you. But just remember that meditation is observation without judgment. So as long as you're not judging what's taking place, you're very aware of it. Just keep observing without judging. And so it's important for you to just press on with it. Find the company of your friends, the people that you do feel comfortable with. Seek out a place like Phoenix and Dragon, or a meditation class, or an arts or creative kind of venture for yourself. Go to your garden, or cook something for yourself, your family, or for the local fire department, whatever it may be. Get busy. Get moving into your world. Hold and love your loved ones. That's always a very good, comforting thing to be able to do. But recognize that you're not alone within this process.
Don, when it comes to meditating, a lot of people say they aren't sure how to meditate. What is a good way for someone to start meditation for the first time?
Right, that's a really great question, and thank you for asking that. One of the misconceptions about meditation is that everybody thinks that they have to sit like a pretzel on the floor and facing east for, an hour. But that's really not the case. The whole thing about meditation is to be able to just be comfortable with yourself for 2 minutes, 5 minutes. If you can go an hour, fantastic. But just to get to that place where you can sit and just watch your breath. You want to look at something or feel something that's a consistent basis. And that's why we use the breath, because the breath is always there. You can do it in the woods, and you can do it in your car, you can do it everywhere. So the breath is always there. The whole aspect of meditation is to allow your body and your mind to rest, to go into a resting state. And the mind is active, always active, really wild. And let me tell you, as soon as you sit and you say, hey, I'm going to meditate for a moment, the very first thing you're going to think is, wait a minute, do I need to do the laundry? Should I do what's happening with the dishes? Maybe I should go do that. You're going to have a million thoughts that come up. That's okay, because you just give yourself, to begin with, 5 minutes. Just sit for 5 minutes. You can always say, hey, I'll do the dishes after 5 minutes, or whatever it may be, or I'll make that phone call, but I need to sit for 5 minutes. 2 very important things while you're meditating. Well, 3 important things while you're meditating. Relax your jaw. relax your shoulders, and don't judge. Outside of that, you're really pretty good. If you can sit in a place, in a comfortable place, if you can do it at the same time every day, these are all bonuses. But for you to just be able to sit for a moment and let go of the monkey mind, is what we call it, so you can just be for a moment and understand your thoughts. What happens is that we've got these patterns of thought that are going on in our mind, and we operate by the patterns of thought rather than our moment-to-moment conscious behavior. So we're actually operating from a place of unconsciousness. So when we go into meditation, we can see very clearly the pattern of our thoughts and how we may disparage ourselves. Well, you're fat, you're ugly, you can't do this, you're not supposed to do that. So all of these thoughts start coming up, and you go, okay, I noticed that thought, I noticed that thought. And the more you notice the thoughts without judgment, then the less time those thoughts come up. It's just like when you quit a habit, be it smoking, drinking, whatever it may be. You have to notice the habit first. Once you notice the habit, then you have the ability to do something about it.
Okay. So is that saying that you become more aware?
Absolutely. You become more aware. And sometimes, that's the scary part about it, is that you do become aware, because you become aware of just how your mind operates. And as much as we would like to think, hey, I'm an okay person, I've got a lot going on, but when you quiet your mind to that place, we're all human beings on Earth. And so all of those tapes and memories and, Mom didn't do this, and my girlfriend did that, and all of these things come up into our mind, and it's a matter of being able to say, I see that, I feel that, I let that go. I am forgiven for all of those things.
Okay.
So it's as if we are going through the majority, not only of our days, but of our lives, just completely unaware. Just going through motions without any sort of conscious effort into paying attention.
Right. And Michelle, I think that's what we were talking about before also, about how the world is just getting faster and faster. Who knew that we'd be able to sit at a computer screen and have a video conference with hundreds of people, if not thousands of people looking on? And so we can do that the whole time we're still texting or emailing and maybe having dinner, microwaves, and everything else. So our multitasking has gotten the best of us in many ways. So as we get faster and faster, we keep getting more and more on that automatic program. That's why meditation is so important, because you get off the wheel for a moment. You get off that cycle. And you say, what am I thinking? What do I need right now, this moment? Consciously.
I could use a piece of chocolate cake.
Chocolate cake.
Well, and I want to talk, and I should have a piece of chocolate cake. My soul needs it, Don.
Well, now can you eat that chocolate cake mindfully?
Oh, yes, I can. Oh, yes, I can.
Now, there's a wonderful thing in hypnosis that I did not come up with. Another person has done some work on this in regards to losing weight. Is that you visualize yourself eating that chocolate cake, and you're eating that chocolate cake, and you taste it, and you feel it, and you feel that in your mouth, and you eat it, and oh, it tastes so good, and you just, and have a second piece of chocolate cake, and you eat it, and then you go have the cake if you really want it after that. But more than likely, you'll eat less of it in reality if you even eat it at all. It's a wonderful hypnosis method to help people lose weight. Basically it's role playing within what you're doing. So have a piece of chocolate cake right now. We're watching it. We're eating it.
That's so funny. I think I will try that. I will definitely try. Not with the chocolate cake. I'm not going to waste a piece of cake just in my imagination, but...
Greg's cake was really good. Did you see that look on his face?
So let's talk about this, because this I'm excited to talk about, past life regressions. And I want to kind of start it with something that you had mentioned to me that I thought was really, really interesting, and then go into the past life thing. Most people who are watching are aware that there was a show on A&E called Psychic Kids, Children of the Paranormal. And out of the 3, I believe, seasons that there were, I'd say probably 75 to 80% of those shows started off with a story of how one of the children had been plagued and tortured by the presence of a spirit for the majority of their life. And everybody kind of watching felt like it had to do with probably where they were living, you know, or were they near a cemetery, or, you know, any number of things. But there was one day when I talked to you, and you had a different feeling about that. Can you tell us what that was?
I did. It was a very visceral feeling, but that there was one of the children, and I do not remember which one it was. This child was, you know, haunted, I would use that word, by this one person, and it felt like it was an immediate past life lifetime that these two had lived together before. And it felt to me that the child that was on the show had probably died before, and the spirit had come back and was still there, rather, even though she had reincarnated into this lifetime. So it felt to me that it was a past life. As a matter of fact, there was a whole thing of Chip was at the end of it saying, you know, okay, let's get rid of the spirit, let's be done with it, let's done. And, you know, they did the I guess you know, vanishing or something of the spirit. And so it was done. They came back after the commercial break and said, so how are you feeling, and how does it feel with the spirit? You still feeling around or whatever? She goes, yeah, I'm feeling around, you know, but you know, he's quiet, he's nice. So the fact that he never really left tells me that this is a past life relationship. They were either married or they were brother and sister or something like that. It was a very strong point. So I could absolutely see how people who have visitations are not just, you know, from the land. Sometimes it is for the house or whatever it may be. I think there are spirits that have traveled this road before over and over again. And it's sort of like, you know, when you're with your best friend, why would you want to leave?
Right.
So that's really where I see a lot of this, and I've seen a couple of them, and I feel that way about quite a few of them, actually.
Well, and so then, is it possible, and I'm just going to pull it away from past life for a second, you got me thinking that, is it possible that, you know, I've read a lot about twin souls and our soul groups and things like that. Is it possible that these spirits are around all of us, and that just occasionally, for whatever reason, we get a glimpse of the spirit who's just kind of hanging out? Not a ghost, not earthbound, you know, not even somebody who we've known who's passed and come back, but a twin soul or part of our soul group who is not currently incarnation.
Wow, Michelle, that's good. I like that. Yeah, I think you're onto something there. Very true. Now, there's a whole thing about, you know, our souls or our twin soul, as well as it could be even a part of ourselves that was, you know, from another lifetime of ourselves. And maybe that's what you were talking about.
That would be freaky.
Very easily. Yeah. You know, that spirit is actually us from another lifetime.
No.
Yeah.
No, it's not that, because that's a little scary, so it's not that.
No, it would never be that.
No, it's not that one. So I put a...
But I also...
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
No, you go, Don.
So I do believe that there are spirits and energies that are just walking around. Oh, there's a picture of me and Dr. Brian Weiss, who wrote the book Many Lives, Many Masters, and many other things. I was trained under him with past life. So I do believe that there are these past life individuals that come around within our lives over and over and over again. But I do believe also that there are probably past individuals that are living on the land or in the house or somewhere that we may have some sort of brushing with. Otherwise, why would they stick around us? Why would they go from house to house or place to place? Or if we're here, why would they want to stay here? You know, so there's some sort of relationship that we've had somehow, some way.
I think it's absolutely mind-boggling. I'm reading a book right now by Shirley MacLaine called, I think it's Camino, the Journey of Spirit, and she is currently at a part where she's falling asleep and napping, sleeping and stuff while she's on this pilgrimage, and she's having these in-depth conversations with somebody, and they're talking about the repeated past lives and how time and time again they're coming back into each other's lives, and how some of the people from her past are in her life now. And do you think that happens? Do we really have a soul group of people that we just keep cycling back and forth with and having different roles in each other's lives, lifetime after lifetime after lifetime?
I really do, and Dr. Weiss has really done a tremendous amount of work in looking at that soul group kind of thing, be it personal love relationships or friendships or even partners or people that are in our life that bring us problems and difficulties. I do believe that we have certain soul groups that we run with. Now, I will also say that sometimes they come in for a moment and then they're gone. But there's some sort of relationship that you know it. When you meet somebody, immediately you go, wow, I get you. Or, wow, I can't stand to be with you, which way ever it may be. That's that part of the soul group that you're working with. And sometimes you'll come in to experience love, to experience dedication, sometimes to experience betrayal. In many ways, to be able to feel those deeper emotions, that just means, whether it be deep love or deep betrayal, that just means that relationship is a deeper relationship. And I will say, even those who give you deep problems probably are deep relationships.
Right, that makes sense.
That's why forgiveness is really huge in this world, I feel, because regardless of what's taking place with your relationship, especially the ones that are negative or hard, you gotta recognize it is the fuel to move you to a better place of compassion. My brother died a few years ago, and my brother was a really great man. He really was a fantastic guy, and he was in the business world, and he did a lot of wonderful things in the business community here in Atlanta and beyond. A lot of people liked him, a lot of people loved him, and he was a complete Viking. I mean, he was notorious for just roaring into life and making things happen. Well, he treated his younger brother, me, very differently than he treated most other people. But at the same time, I recognized, especially after he died, that I was really very honored because he could be completely 100% authentic at all times with me. And so, at that moment in time, I got it. It's like, oh, okay, good. And even though I, hated to be on the front of when he was mad at me or whatever, or when I did something stupid and boneheaded, how he treated me. But at the same time, I knew that I could depend on my brother being 100% authentic with who he was. And even though he was authentic with other people, there was, he could hold his tongue just a little bit with others. So we are in the same soul group for our evolution. Again, both love and anger.
I remember going to Phoenix and Dragon one night, and you were leading us in a little mini past life regression, and I don't remember at what point it was, but you were talking, and I was listening and trying to be comfortable and go with wherever it was you were leading us, and you said something about you're in a restaurant, and to sit down, get comfortable, and then to just look around the restaurant and see who was in there. Did you recognize anyone? And I remember it just struck me as so funny, and I can't believe that I didn't laugh out loud in it, but I looked around, and there you were, Don, walking towards me, waving, big smile, hi! And then that was it. It was over.
That's it. You see, and that's why, because our relationship, Michelle, you and I can not talk for weeks or months, and then all of a sudden when we talk, we're right back on.
Right.
That's definitely a relationship that we've had for many, many lifetimes. And that's just a great, wonderful thing. That's how I feel that it really does work when you can accept and find those people that are in your life. Accept them as your past life traveling companion, traveling, on this earth plane together. That is funny. You told me about that one time.
And I was nervous to tell you, because I thought, well, he's going to think, nice. I was a little pissed because you didn't even buy me dinner in there, but that's all right.
I may have been the major D.
I don't know, maybe.
I have to ask you this question. You do past life regressions and future progression sessions. Can you explain how future progression works?
The future progression is a really amazing thing that we do, and that is using the same principles of past life regression, only moving into the future. So what we do is we go into the meditative state, and then we just look at what's happening now within your life. And if you think about it, the decisions you make right now today will influence what happens tomorrow, as well as what will happen 5 years from now. So the future life progression, as I do it, is to be able to understand what you're doing now and how that's going to relate to 5 years from now, 25 years from now, 2 lifetimes from now, 500 years from now. And so the idea is to be able to sort of 2 steps forward, 1 step back, saying, this is where I'm going. Is that acceptable? No, let's come back. Let's rearrange what I'm doing now to be able to help rewrite our future. And so it's a way of sort of working into the future what you're doing now in a more enlightened kind of way. Now, one of the things that with Brian Weiss is that we take it into the far future, however far away you want to go, and sort of see what's going on. And what's fascinating, and this is in his book, I can't remember the title of the book that deals with future life progression, but I've seen the same thing, is that there's reports of so many similar items from so many people, same kind of what the world looks like, how the people react, and how they relate to each other. So there's something that's going on, and it actually, the first time I did it with Dr. Weiss, really gives me hope for the future. I got to be honest with you. It gives me hope.
That's what I was just going to ask. If you've had a glimpse of the future, that must give you a better idea about the fears surrounding 2012.
Right. Now, I'll also say that, there's a part of this that you have to let go of what you think may happen. They've been talking about the end of the world for a long, long time.
Since the beginning of the world.
The beginning of time, we're talking about the end of time. Right. By now, if we had believed all of the books that were written 15 years ago, Florida and California would no longer be here, and we would be, merged with China or something. And, none of that happened. Yes, there are problems, there are issues, and I get that, and it will happen more and more and more. But as we look into the far future, it's not as bleak as some may think that it would be. And don't get me wrong, I believe that there will be some difficult times for us, coming up. I'm not exactly sure if we'll see all of that in our lifetime, but I think we'll see a few of them. But it's not, I don't think it's anything more dramatic than what the world has already seen, at least once.
Well, let's jump back again. And Greg, you had this question, and so I'm going to jump backwards and kind of ask it for you. I know that I was obviously Cleopatra in a past lifetime, obviously.
That's obvious.
And so I'm sure that you have not run into any other people who were Cleopatras, because that wouldn't be possible. Are most people surprised to find out that they were not Marie Antoinette, anybody famous like that? Are they kind of disappointed when they find out? I mean, when we did that past life regression, my back was hurting and I couldn't go with it, and I only got a glimpse, but I saw myself as a man in Greek times, and my job was to build a catapult. And I remember thinking, oh wow, I would have thought I'd have had a little bit more glamorous.
Right. What's amazing, Michelle, is that sometimes I'll do a past life regression with the theme of your highest self. Who are you in your greatest element? And a lot of times it'll come up. They were a husband or a wife. They were a mom. They were a dad. They were those kind of very, just not, what we would think of as mundane kind of things. I've met a few people who are like, well, I think I was a little more than that, kind of deal. But for the most part, when you go through the experience of a past life regression, my feeling is that you are so moved just by the experience of living in another lifetime that all of that other stuff sort of goes away. And I think that's why it's really important for people. I get a lot of clients that will come in and say, I know there's something important I'm supposed to do. I'm supposed to do something really important. And I say, yeah, it may be just to give someone the time of day 5 years from now.
Ouch.
You think that you've got something to do. Yeah, you're right. Because if you're constantly chasing that thing that you've got to do and you don't know what it is, you will keep chasing. Let the world come to you rather than chasing after it. Now, that's not to say don't be motivated. Yes, be motivated. Do what you do. But get out there and do what you do. Not chase after, what am I supposed to do? What am I supposed to do? Just do it. That's the power of meditation, because what you're doing is very consciously what's before you right now at this moment.
So once again, it's becoming aware.
It's becoming aware. Without judgment. Without judgment. Because what if your job on this world, you look at our military and our soldiers, there's a lot of people that were not generals. They were the men and women who just took one more step. They are the brave ones. So, what if we're just the brave ones?
That's good enough for me.
Yeah, y'all are doing the good work right here by doing this. So, that's part of it, I do believe.
Yeah, and I know we've been told that we can run over. I'm not going to keep you too long, Don, because I know you've got things to do, and I know that you get up very early, as do I, so we're not going to go over too many minutes. But I have a question. Dr. Weiss's book, Many Lives, Many Masters. What does the masters refer to?
That's a very good question. I don't know exactly what that means from his point of view. However, I'll give you my point of view from that, is that we've had many lives that we've led. And from that, there are many things that we do, which is our masters. And how are we proceeding and moving forward with our lives. You know, what we're doing is our master, from what I gather. There's also masters, like ascended masters and guides and things like that that we follow, we listen to. But, you know, you take your children to school. That's being a master. They are mastering you to do these kinds of things. So it's our duty. It's what we do. It's our master.
Excuse me.
Like,
Oh, I didn't mean to cough right in there. Sorry, it was all a cough, a sudden cough.
yes. That must be that element of having to take children to school.
It was the thought of the early morning alarm clock and what all that means.
Right.
Well,
It makes sense in regards to that. I've never thought about it in that way, the title of that book. But it makes sense that there are so many things that we do, we are ruled by in many ways. And those are the task masters, so to speak, that keeps us moving forward.
and that does make sense. And it's been a little while since I read the book, but I don't recall him talking a lot about guides or anything like that. Because at first, that's what I thought it meant, is that each of our guides for each lifetime, so many lives and many guides. But that didn't seem quite right. I think you're on with what he means by that.
And in many ways that I've seen it also, the guides and masters that we have, the angels and things like that, they've actually followed us from lifetime to lifetime. And so, you know, I've done this work with myself and with other people going into past lives. The same guides keep showing up. You know, they're there. So, you know, certainly they can evolve, or there may be a new one here or there. But, you know, just like our soul group, how we work in soul groups, well, the guys are a part of our soul group, and they move with us.
Right, that makes sense. And they gotta kind of get to know us. You don't want a new one all the time having to relearn. Trainees.
It's the trainees. Like, now, you mean I've got to train another guy?
Yeah. It takes a long time to get them snapped up into shape.
That's right. Until we can understand them, or they can understand us. Right.
Well, I know I want to end with you talking about how everybody can get in touch with you and track you down and all that kind of stuff. But Greg, before we get into that, do you have any other questions? Because I know I'm trying to remember what your questions were, and I think we missed a couple.
I have one question that I really would love to ask.
Okay, go.
Going back to what we had talked about in the beginning of the show, talking with frequency. Can frequency, Don, affect our perception of how we view our dimension or our reality? When it comes to sensing things like ghosts, or even the possibility of aliens. Here we go again with aliens, you know, from doing the past couple of shows, or anything more.
The frequency of energy, you mean? Is that what you call about?
Can the frequency of our reality, of our universe, can it affect how we perceive our reality and things that we normally do not see?
I believe that it can, Greg, because if someone is in the frequency, I'll use it in this term, if you're in the constant frequency of fear, you're going to bring another reality into your life. If you're in the frequency of love, compassion, and forgiveness, you're going to bring a different frequency into your life, a different reality into your life. And so, in that regard, I believe that you do. I believe that, you know, one of our big things, music, you know, really does have a difference on how we work within this world. Dr. Emoto, in his book about the water and sound. If you know, the old thing of what goes into a computer comes out of a computer. If you fill your body, if you fill your temple with disharmony, then more than likely disharmony is going to come out, be it music or anger.
Good.
Well, now how about, could you potentially then manipulate the frequencies in a given space to maybe thin that veil a little bit. So those people who are out doing investigations and wanting to experience something, wanting to see or hear something, what do you think about, and I've thought about trying this and I've just never done it before, trying to create like a wheel with tuning forks that spun and struck so that all tones were vibrating at one time. Do you think that you could potentially alter the frequency in the room and heighten your experiences?
Absolutely, absolutely, because sound not only, is audible, but like I was saying, there's actual vibrational waves that move throughout. Sound can move through walls and everything else. So it's going to disturb the air, so to speak, and the veil between our world and the other world is very thin, and so that frequency and vibration will disturb that both positive and or negatively. So yes, you're absolutely Phil. As you know, when you're doing your work, how you relate to the energy of those spirits will depend on how friendly they can be to you, or how they come about to you. So it is about, you can change the frequency, vibration through sound, and we'll do that. We can talk about that some more, and we'll set up an experiment with it.
Absolutely.
Cool.
Have you ever
doing experiments?
Yeah, I know. We love it. We love it, and we could actually set something up and film it and show it here on the show.
That would be good.
That would be fun. Have you ever? Well, I'll ask you this based on the same thing, and then we'll get all your information from you and call it a night. When you were with the ITSA group and you guys are practicing and you've got all of this awesome energy going on, I know you're really tuned into what you're doing, but has anybody had an experience during one of those sessions?
A spirit coming around them or something?
Yeah, or seeing something, just something changing.
I don't recall, I personally don't recall it. I felt other energies around, but I've not really tapped into it or localized on it, simply because I'm more involved with what I was doing versus the outside experience.
Right.
Although I'm very aware of the humans that are in the room with me, but I will start noticing that a little bit more and see if there's any changes around me with that.
I think that would be neat.
I usually, because I really do my own internal work of, before I go, I bring light into my body and divine reflection of light, which is a statement that I like to use a lot for myself and others. And so whatever comes into my field is going to be a very protective energy. Now, I've definitely felt angels and spirit guides and things like that, so in many ways, yes, you're right, I have experienced that. But it feels more like in the form of angelic beings or spirit guides. Now, I definitely have done past life readings where energies and spirits come up to me. But that's just in doing a reading kind of thing, not necessarily the sound.
Right. Well, we're going to set that up. We'll get the three of us together and go to some really cool, spooky place with some cameras and some sounds and see what happens.
That would be fun.
Look for that.
Some
So
spooky
we're like
place.
gonna do it in my son's bathroom.
No, that's scary. That's just scary.
Spooky.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's too scary, man.
You know something. You know something evil happens in there.
Oh yeah.
All right, Don, give us some information. Where can people find you? And I think hopefully LaWanda will type this into the chat room for us.
Absolutely. I'm at Phoenix and Dragon Bookstore in Sandy Springs, and I work there Thursday, Friday, and Saturdays. They take care of my book in regards to my readings and things like that. I teach meditation at Phoenix and Dragon on Thursday at 12 noon, Saturday at 6 o'clock. You can also contact me through my website, which is www.themysticpath.com. www.psychicdonsimmons.com. And one of the other things is if people are interested in sound or International Sound Therapy Association or the beautiful Peace Bowl on the November the 12th, they can contact www.powerofsounds.com or contact me and I'll put them in touch.
And Donna's on Facebook too.
Yes, I am on Facebook, and I keep forgetting about that kind of thing. So, yes, I'm on Facebook, and you can Facebook friend me.
Yes,
And I'll friend you back.
send him a friend request, and he can keep you updated, and you can send him a message if you need to be reminded about any of these dates, and put November 11th and 12th that weekend on your calendar, because that is the place to be.
As well as International Sound Therapy Association has a Facebook page also, and we have information on that as well.
Good. And you can contact Greg or I too if you forget any of this information. Find us, and we'll get a hold of Don and we'll get the information to you too. But so Don, leave us as we end this. We need you to give us a go forth and prosper kind of feeling.
Well. Michelle, I want to say, and Greg, thank you so much for the work that you are doing, because you are the ones that are making a difference, because y'all are bringing consciousness into the unconscious world. So you are that beautiful blessing, that beautiful divine reflection of light, and I want to thank you both for being on the planet with us.
We love Don
I think
Simmons.
the world's a bigger and brighter place because of you, Don, so thank you.
Thank you so much, Greg. Absolutely. Y'all take care and have a great, beautiful night and week.
Thank you, Don, and we'll talk soon.
Okay, bye-bye.
He so rocks.
Oh, yes, he does.
I
love talking to Don.
My mind is going in a million miles a minute, and I'm thinking, okay, we could have him back next week, and we could talk about, and then we could have him back on the following week, but we got to break it up a little bit, give Don a break. But I really want to set that up, Greg, to work with Don and some sound at a investigation place and film it and see what happens. I've been wanting to do that for years, and I've passed that idea on to people, and nobody's jumped on it yet.
No?
No.
There are plenty of places you can go to where the location may be affected by frequency. Especially if you were to bring out his bowls.
It's just a matter, I'm thinking,
Experiment to do.
it has to be sort of contained. It has to be a building. If we're outside, it's just going to dissipate, I'm thinking.
Yeah, it won't resonate as far.
Right. Oh, well. Well, we have got to probably wrap it up. We went over a little bit tonight, but that was with our favorite person, Brandon's permission. He said we could. We love being on Past TV Network, and we're so excited to be a part of this incredibly huge family and have the opportunity to come and bring guests like Don Simmons to you and all that cool stuff. Right, Greg?
Definitely.
I think we're both tired.
I may rip Brandon, every chance I talk to him, but I think Brandon for having us on the network and allowing us to, or at least me, be as much of a smart butt as I possibly can.
I think that we ought to see. But he can't edit it. You could say the word if you want, because we're live.
Yeah.
What's he gonna do? What's he gonna do? I think he should do it just to see.
Thanks for watching us again.
And that was it. Thank you for watching our last show.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, I think we ought to have Brandon on to interview him sometime. I mean, I was going to say, is he doing his own show? But I don't want to admit that I don't know that right now off the top of my head. But I think we should interview him. What do you think?
It's not a bad idea. Brandon, the myth.
Yeah. Oh, God. All right. Well, on that note, thank you for listening. Thank you for hanging out a little bit past our time. Don Simmons' information should be in the chat room. If not, come and find Greg and or myself, and we will hook you up with the 411 on Don. As always, we will be here next Tuesday night, 9:05 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, when we will announce the next city that we are #1 in. So stay tuned. It could be your town. Thanks, guys. Good night.
And no flipping.
Yeah. And hey, we didn't cut off yet, did we?
No, not yet.
Okay. Well, I just got an answer back from Brandon. So next week, next Tuesday night, 9 p.m., we will be interviewing here, live, Mr. Brandon, and we are just going to have a great time. We are going to have a great time. We did?
We did get cut.
Yeah. Oh, well. Okay, so I'm going to stop here. Good night if you're still listening.